13.
They're all connected, right? So smell with taste.
Yeah.
You
That's a big
smell
combo.
some food, you get hungry.
You start tasting in your mouth. Ooh.
You start tasting that motherfucker. If you don't want to taste something, you
Yeah.
plug your nose up.
Or like whenever you smell something bad, you start to taste it in your mouth. And
Yeah.
That ain't good.
Like when you walk into the bathroom and somebody dumped a hot one, and you still got your stupid mask on, and you think that a microscopic virus is not getting in there, but you still smell the shit.
That don't
and
make
you're
no
like,
sense.
I'm helping because I'm listening to the TV.
Just gotta mask the shit. That's what you gotta do.
Oh boy. Welcome back to the Bridge Podcast. I am your host, Sean Nixon.
Jonathan Matthew. How you feeling today, bud?
I feel fantastic.
Got him.
Dude. Got me good. Got me good, you fucker.
Bastard.
I love it, man. I'm feeling good. I told you the month of May is magical weather.
Magical.
Portals opening up all over the place.
Superflower blood moon.
Superflower blood moon in Sagittarius. So that's
You're like a super sag. Like in the Dragon Ball Z, like a Super Saiyan, like Super Saiyan. Is that a thing?
Super
Did I make that
Saiyan
happen?
all over the place.
I'll make that a meme.
Sagittarius is the swaggiest of the signs. So
Allegedly.
flexing on everybody. Listen, when somebody tells me things, I run with it.
Yeah.
I don't question anything.
That's how you win a relay race,
And
right?
that's how you win, is you keep running. And we are running forward with the 7 series, okay? And this is to address the 7 holes in your face.
Whoa, buddy.
You have 7 holes in your dome piece.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
2 ears, 2 eyeball sockets, 2 nostril holes, and a mouthpiece.
Mouthpiece.
Okay? So that's how you let in the 5 external senses, all right? But we're here to tell you, following along with the 7 series, that you actually have 7 senses. The ancient Mayans, the ancient Hindus, specifically the ancient Egyptians, had over 100 senses because they ascended and they were into more 5D shit because they had a higher spiritual knowledge and longer time on the planet.
More nuanced.
Yeah,
sensory
more
perception.
internal sensory perception and extrasensory perception. But and a lot of people maybe even have more than 7. But we're going to talk about the 7 that we can stand by right now.
Yeah, and 7 that you can even tangibly relate to and feel.
Tangibly feel right now, every single person.
Yep.
Some people have magical other senses, talking to the dead, mediums, seeing beings, different feelings of different things, channelers, etc. Those are special people or special gifts or special practices that they've uncovered. Yeah. Every single person listening to this right now has 7, at least. Okay? So, sight.
Your vision.
The eyeballs.
Your vision. You got some rods, you got some cones in there.
Rods and cones.
So yeah, one thing too with your external senses. So your 5 senses are for external stimulation.
Yeah.
You sense things through your brain. So your brain's picking it up.
Yeah. The outside 3D world connection.
The bridge.
To the bridge.
Say what?
To your brain. The bridge to your brain.
So you think like my eye sees, but your eye just picks it up. My ear doesn't hear. My ear just picks up the vibrations, right?
Good call.
My fingers feel. So the disassociation or attachment to that idea can change when you realize it's just the brain and it has its antennas that are picking shit up.
Well, that's a great point because the way that you ever see a color and somebody's like, no, that's pink, no, that's red.
I had
that's orange.
one of my good friends. He's like
a colorblind person's like, yo, that's green, that's gray.
Yeah, he's like a big botanist. He's like big into botany, and so like it was me, him, and his girlfriend were at his place, and he was planting this like really ridiculously rare, cool flower, whatever. And he's like, yeah, okay, come help me out with this because we're having a debate.
What color
is this purple? Or is this like pink or purple? That's what it was, right? When there's a line there, but like purple, like rainbow purple, right? And it was clearly,
violet.
No, but I didn't even something ridiculous. I think he may have even said red, like red or pink.
Like, no way.
And I was like, dude, that's like hardcore magenta fuchsia. And she's like, yeah, it definitely is. He's like, oh my god, that's like red to me.
Yeah.
But is our definition different, or do you actually just see that as red, right? So that's different.
Or even like, you remember the, whatever you want to call it, like meme video of Yanni or Laurel You ever seen that shit? You've seen the dress that's
Oh,
black and white striped?
yeah.
Your perception is your reality.
Yeah.
So people have different perceptions.
That was a ridiculous period of time.
People taste things differently.
Yeah.
People hear things differently. Yeah, it was a simpler time.
Simpler times when
Well, we would
colors of
argue over
dresses.
nonsense instead of who gets to use what water fountain.
The good old days.
And fucking who's diseased and whatnot. What line.
Oh, man.
Going back to fucking segregation when we used to just argue over YouTube videos. Right? So we haven't even mentioned the two extra sensor.
No, we have not.
Internal senses.
The extra internal, that's intense.
Extra internal.
Yeah, but with the vision, because I kind of meandered there for a point, but cones and rods, if you ever hear those are just photoreceptors you have in your eyes.
Light comes in, reflects.
Yep, and sends a signal to your brain, right? So rods pick up lower light stuff, so that'll be a lot less color, but think of like dusk and dawn, or like whenever you like turn off the light in a dark room and all of a sudden you can't see anything because the change in light is so, and you have to like let your eyes adjust, right? Then you have your cones, which allow you to see higher. You're smiling there at the cones.
Yeah, dude, I had so many jokes, but they're very juvenile and sophomoric, so I'll say them.
There you go. Yeah, cones allow you to see like higher light or more vibrant light. So you got your cones, your rods,
the lights.
and your vision.
And that's your vision. So
And most people are dominant in terms of that's their dominant sense too,
great
right?
point. Human beings for sure, whereas most other mammals are relying on smell.
Yeah, I think
and they have way better hearing than we do, and way shittier eyesight. Sometimes not even the same color perception.
Yeah, like like dogs.
Dogs and bears can't see for shit. They will smell like a motherfucker.
Yeah, I think it's a statistic. By the last time I read one was 40% of their sensory perception is smell.
Yeah.
Whereas ours is very, very minimal. Like most of ours is like, you take any stab in the dark, you're like 80% vision. It feels like sometimes.
For sure.
And you talk about learning too. Most people are visual learners in terms of seeing it, right? There's a mix. Obviously, it's not just like absolute. I only learn visually. I'm sure there's some people who do though, but yeah, vision's a big one.
Yeah,
I got these on because my vision is all jacked up.
Yeah, because 90% of the school is reading and writing, and that's only makes up 8% of the learners.
Yeah.
So that's how you get into this, where there's a bunch of fucking dummies that have a bunch of letters after their name that get social status and a bunch of money that claim they're smart because they're academically educated. And if you don't have, and you only have book learning and no common sense, it's no good.
Well, then you also get the kids who are tactile or kinesthetic learners who are like the ADD kids, and you're like, this kid's just anxious. Like, no, you just got to give him something to do.
He's a drummer or a basketball player or a martial artist.
Like, what if you gave him a Rubik's Cube and that kid just fucking figured it out?
Genius, right? He goes. You're going to say he's unintelligent?
Just because he can't sit still and look at a word on the page. Everybody's different, right?
You're not supposed to be sitting still in a desk all day. Not natural.
It's not good for your hips.
Not good for your brain. Not good for your brain and your body. So what else you got? You got a nose. You got 2 nose holes that got some olfactory senses that suck in, perceive smell.
Yeah, this is true.
Smells a lot of different things.
Smell's a weird one.
Smells super weird.
Because it's also very sensitive from person to person.
Yeah.
For the most part, most people see, we're both seeing our room with the same colors and vision for the most part, as far as I can tell. But smell can be extraordinarily different, right?
Especially for women, a lot of times.
Yeah, it's heightened sense of smell. Yeah.
That's interesting. Or even how the senses are connected. So if you're deaf, you can kind of see a little bit better.
Yeah.
Or if you're blind, you can hear a little bit better.
Yeah, other things kind of get heightened up.
Other things get heightened. So, and even just the senses that you do have, if you have all 5, 7, 13. They're all connected, right? So smell with taste.
Yeah. That's a big combo.
Some food, you get hungry.
You start tasting in your mouth. Ooh.
You start tasting that motherfucker. If you don't want to taste something, you plug your nose up.
Or whenever you smell something bad, you start to taste it in your mouth.
Yeah.
That ain't good.
When you walk into the bathroom and somebody dumped a hot one, and you still got your stupid mask on, and you think that a microscopic virus is not getting in there, but you still smell the shit.
That don't make no sense.
I'm helping because I'm listening to the TV.
Just gotta mask the shit. That's what you gotta do.
Oh boy. But if you don't want to taste something, you plug your nose up because those senses are connected.
Yeah. Over 900,000 different genetic variations of olfactory receptors.
There's a lot of stank out there.
It's a lot of stank and a lot of different ways to smell stank.
A lot of different ways to perceive the stank.
Yeah.
Because you've seen people, all these senses are connected. You've seen people pull down their mask if they can't hear you, just as like a subconscious, like trying to turn up the volume on
Yeah.
their ears, or turn down the volume to park the car and shit because they think they're going to see better. But it's just nervous system distractions.
Yeah.
So you're trying to hone in. The same way if you're trying to feel a muscle or imagine something, you would close your eyes.
Yeah.
So you plug up some of the other senses and turn them off so the brain has more
That's
energy.
talk about sensory deprivation, right?
Oh.
Which we didn't even touch on before, but that's a big one in terms of which we'll get into that one a little bit later, but just because I think it correlates to the other ones.
Big time. Whoa, I'm glad you brought that up.
But smell, I want to touch back on smell for a second. Just a random story that reminded me, but
Let's do it.
I used to get these Glade plugins in my
Oh God.
in like sophomore year of college, like in the apartment we had, and
Why
they're
clean when you can just plug something in?
plug it in. They get into your brain, little earworms of marketing. Oh no, it was in California. No, it was like a hand soap. Never mind, it was hand soap.
Okay.
The smell of hand soap.
Okay.
Method hand soap, which is like natural. I dig it.
Connected to like memories and stuff. Oh yeah, method.
Yeah. So like I was like my first move there, so this is like my first experience in California, and I bought the same soap the other day, and I went to go use it, and I had like a seized the table like I was like, Jimmy, like I don't know what happened. I'm like, oh shit, it was that same Ocean Surf hand soap.
Brought me back
And triggered like, cause again, your brain is perceiving, right? Your brain is sensing that nose is just a conduit, a medium, right?
Yes.
The bridge, if you will, to that sense, and that sense triggered a memory because I only used to ever smell that sense back in a certain spot.
a core memory.
Whoa.
So like all these senses are connected. You ever see somebody cook food and you get hungry? You ever see somebody have sex and you get horny?
You ever see someone have sex and get hungry, or cook and get horny?
Yes. The answer is yes, because they're all connected. Sometimes you just want barbecue ribs and some titties. You never know. All right.
Yeah, you never know.
Those are the traditional five senses that we're feeling external stimuli. All right, and everything is connected in this human experience. But number 6 and 7, I think we've waited long enough to tell you what they are, and we're talking about proprioception and intuition.
Whoa.
Those are for your internal sensory experience. All right. So proprioception, right, is your sense of movement, self-movement, and body position. All right, that's your body awareness, where you are in space. I always tell people when I'm training trainers and coaching coaches, like if you close your eyes and take your finger and touch your nose, you're going to get it 100% of the time. How the hell did you do that? Not with sight, sound, touch, hearing, or smell. All right? You did that with proprioception. That's your sixth sense. You know where your body is at in space. You can do this during meditation. You can visualize this. That's what the body scan that we talk about is. Find your nose, find your ears, find your toes, scan your body. Oh shit. Whoa, there's my pineal gland. There's my chakras. Work the bitch up. Light the bitch up like a Christmas tree from the bottom.
Yeah, and it's so proprioception actually starts in this one receptor called piezo2, which they just found like maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago at this point. But it's like a molecule-sized receptor that's responsible for proprioception. And there's like a very, very rarely is somebody born without it, and they can't actually do that. They can't find their nose with their eyes closed, so they lack that ability to do that.
They're just wiping their ass and swinging.
Yeah,
and
they're
missing. Just swinging and missing left and right.
Steer right.
But yeah, try that shit at home. If you go to touch, we've all been in a dark room where you're feeling around and you can't see shit.
Yeah.
But at any moment, you could touch your nose or touch two fingertips together. How the fuck do you know that? Proprioception. You feel and sense where you are in space.
Because if you were to pull off your skin, your organs, and just had your nervous system out, out and exposed, like you would see just like electrical signals.
That's right.
Touching together, right? All from the brain.
The brain, because it's all energy, right? So that's kind of proprioception has a lot to do with balance and a mind-muscle connection. You've heard of this? If people are lifting weights and stuff like that, like a lot of bodybuilders will close their eyes, once again, like we talked about, to shut off other senses to get a heightened proprioception and internally feel their muscles more. Yeah. Because once again, lifting weights is not going from A to B swinging dumbbells around or whatever. It's lengthening and shortening and feeling the targeted muscle that you're trying to stimulate. So that's proprioception.
Yeah, when they say like get your mind in your body, your mind inside your body, get your mind in get your head in your bicep or mind in your bicep, right? Like that's what you're doing. It's just like an intense focus is one way you can practice stimulating proprioception, with which eyes closed definitely helps. But yeah, just having that ability to squeeze and feel what that contraction is changes your lifting and strength and just how you perform as a human being. And generally when you can, because like I remember especially when I teach younger kids, I notice a lot because they're still learning how to do this stuff. And so I realized okay, well it comes natural to me now because I practiced so much. Like, so you have to practice feeling that, stimulating that, right? Especially because a lot of times you can't feel, like some muscles are just very difficult to like feel. Like for a lot of people, I have a hard time. Back muscles very much because they're behind you.
You can tell a 6-year-old kid to flex their bicep and know how to feel it and how to do it.
Yeah.
But even a 25-year-old that lifts weights,
like where's my lat?
Flex your back muscles. And they're like, the fuck? Because you don't see it in the mirror, you don't practice it, so you have less of a neural connection to it.
Yep, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Right? Less proprioception. But with practice, you can get anything better. And since you're a goddamn professional podcaster, that was a perfect segue when you said, like, getting your mind in your body, or sometimes you say it to me, get into your body. It's just how you say it. For potentially jiu-jitsu and martial arts, but certainly for yoga.
Definitely
that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
And that's where, if anybody's ever, taking an THC edible or taking a little hit of weed before yoga or something like that, and any stretching, it enhances the whole experience because you're, quote, in your body. Or your mind is in your body.
Like you mentioned,
body connection.
You mentioned before body scans. That's a big part of meditation practices and yoga practices too. And it's really, it's all proprioception because your eyes are closed, right? So you're literally training your sixth sense when you're doing yoga. What? Yeah.
You literally are. Yeah. Yoga and meditation.
And then like we were talking about like doing like a down dog or a position where you're feeling a stretch in a muscle.
Yeah.
Same thing as a contraction and lifting. A stretch isn't sight, smell, taste, touch, or hearing, right?
But you feel it.
But you feel it.
So that's the nerves are bundled up in the fascia, the myofascia. The fascia is connective tissue that runs throughout the body, kind of connects all the muscles. And like I said, the nerves are bundled up in there, and you got Golgi tendon organs that are in there that kind of feel the stretch. And you can train those bastards too to either lift more weight or hold more tension under a stretch. You
ever feel these are it depends on each person because I've only been me as far as I know in this experience for now in this physical and at least in this physical reality I haven't been anybody else.
Exorcism shit.
Yeah, that's intense. Not there yet. No, I don't think I want to yet.
No.
But you ever feel like your body stretch past that point of that Golgi tendon? Because it looks like almost like a little button or like a tiny little ring in the muscle.
Yeah.
And when you feel it, when you see like in a diagram, you start to and you feel it. It's like this little switch that just goes off in your muscle, right?
Oh, and you just reminded me something with that. That's why like a mirror can help with proprioception because then you're seeing things with your eyes that enhance because the senses are connected.
Yeah.
That's what a mirror is for, ladies and gentlemen. The gym is not to see how pretty you are or to check people out in the corner of your eye.
Or use mirror dynamics to see
everybody else. It's to, A, make sure you're not going to bump into anybody when you're backing up with weights or whatever, to see your surroundings. And B, to check your form.
You never do learn to mind your surroundings, Bruce. Batman Begins.
What's the use of all those push-ups if you can't push a bloody
That's so good, yeah.
That's so good. But yeah, so that's stretching and yoga. They're two different things. I don't know if you knew that, John. But
yeah, they are.
But that feeling that you get when your fascia and your muscles are lengthening as well, but it's really fascia stretching, that is proprioception. Yeah. You're feeling it on the inside. No one's touching
Internally.
Experience, yeah. Internal experience of proprioception. So it's kind of a big deal. And that shit, and we've seen people, no body awareness, no mind-muscle connection, not good balance, not good coordination. That's low proprioception.
Yeah, and which can be trained,
Yes, you can train everything. Well, you can train all these senses.
Yeah, absolutely.
All these senses. You can train. I got one eye that's good, one eye that's not good. You could cover the one eye and it gets stronger. And you train it. Every single thing is belief and repetition, and training and practice, repetitions, over and over and over again.
Frequency.
That's it. So myofascia is such a big deal because you get Emotions get stored up in there because when the nerves are bundled in connective tissue, that's
You sent me that video of like when you go to a hip opener, like you're in pigeon pose,
Yeah.
and then
So funny.
because hip openers, like we mentioned, I forget which episode we talked about this on, but it stores a lot of emotion in your hips. That's your emotional center, your sacral chakra, right?
And some people in yoga get
Yeah.
into a pigeon pose or a hip stretch.
And they got the nice music playing. The teacher says some sort of meaningful quote, and then all of a sudden you're just breaking down in tears.
crying.
And you're like, "What's happening?
Oh my God.
I have so many feelings.
Emotions are stored in there.
I just like the yoga pants. I didn't want any of the other shit."
Anger is stored in the liver.
Ooh.
Anxiety.
Alcoholics. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. They get angry when you drink too much. Put that shit together. Guilt and worry are stored in the lungs and chest area. So
Yeah.
people worry a lot, get that heaviness in the chest.
Tight chest. Yeah.
Chest action. Fear a lot of times is stored in the kidneys because it's where the adrenal glands are, so it makes sense. And like you said, the sacrum. So a lot of I want to say romantic, emotional stuff, but like your tears are all stored.
Well,
in the hips.
that's the element of that chakra.
Right.
It's water, right? So.
And I forget what else, but every single point in the body, and that goes to like reflexology and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The nerve endings in the feet connected to your whole.
Yeah, I'm actually working on like
organs,
correcting my outer pinky toes, or just
dude.
those get destroyed by shoes.
Oh,
Like who made the idea to have shoes like this?
dumbasses.
Who did that?
Fucking Nike.
Who did that shit?
Fucking Nike.
Nonsense, ridiculous.
Bunch of-
I just finally, and it's kind of cool to like have worked through it, but like I got like full function to my pinky toe, my right toe. My left is still like dead, it feels like. So I'm working on doing that one. And no coincidence, I'm having right shoulder issues for my left pinky toe. I've been working on that, and after fixing my right pinky toe, I noticed a major difference up my whole kinetic chain. Right?
That posterior oblique sling line of fascia connects from that toe to the other finger. Cross yourself. What else was I going to say about that? Yeah, you should be able to wiggle and control each one of your toes individually the same way you can control your fingers. You should be able to push the 4 little guys down and move the big one.
Little piggies?
Keep the big piggy down and wiggle the smaller piggies.
Little piggies.
And if you can't do that, you're fucking up. You don't have full proprioception.
You done goofed.
You done goofed. All right. So where else are we at? That's proprioception. I think you got
The gist.
That is sensing your movement, your body position, your body awareness, knowing where you're at in space. Because then you could do that, like you said, to your heart, your pineal gland, your liver, and you find certain things in your body.
That's a big part of when we were talking about chakras and doing. I mentioned doing a chakra meditation, which was like the first like major meditation that sparked the spiritual experience was just proprioception. Like I started with the body scan, and that allowed me to feel like where my chakras would be, right? And you don't have to like know like it's specifically, right? It's just the general region.
Yep.
And you
it's
start
intention
to
with proprioception.
But having the ability to just like feel into those spaces heightens your ability to have those kind of connected chakra lining energetic experiences.
And everybody has it. Because then speaking about energy lines, you got meridian lines in like Chinese medicine, like acupuncture and whatnot. That's all connected.
Everything.
Every motherfucking thing. So
this is the Bridge Podcast, by the way.
It is. Welcome back
to
the Bridge Podcast, and that is your internal sensing of your physical body. But then you also have intuition. All right. So intuition is your ability to perceive an instinct without physical or rational evidence. So there's a gut feeling.
That's good.
All right. Yeah. You've heard of trust your gut feelings, instincts. This is your higher self, or God, or somebody, or your soul telling you something, sometimes before it's even about to happen, or a big decision, or it doesn't feel, or something doesn't feel right. I'm very sensitive to energies of people and places.
I'm glad you just brought that up, because we talked about the 5 senses, and we think of like sight as its own thing, but really it's vibration, right? Sight is picking up light vibration. Sound is picking up sound vibration. Taste is picking up the vibration of the chemicals of the foods,
itself,
right?
Sure.
The same thing with touch, and even proprioception too. But it's all energy, and intuition really is the first sense that's entirely void of the physical presence of the body,
but
just communicating pure energy, right?
Pure energy that you can't see,
exactly,
touch,
right?
Smell, or taste,
or even propriocept, right? Like it's beyond that.
Even beyond proprioception. That's why it's number 7.
Number 7.
And we're back to 7. I love it. My man Carl Jung said, Proprioception is the or intuition is the perception through the unconscious. All right. So
imagine if Carl Jung was like a strength coach.
Was a strength coach with a whistle around his neck and shit.
And Polkin was like a psychoanalyst. That'd be hilarious.
So funny. Well, they both did.
They both they both knew a little bit about both.
A little bit about both.
'Cause you gotta bridge
it's
it.
all connected.
Yeah.
They were bridging for a long time now. That just reminds me of so many fucking like funny Carl Jung videos. They asked him, one of his last interviews on video, and I'm on a complete side bridge. They asked him like, Carl, do you believe in God? And he made a face like that, like, fuck, I can't give you the real answer because you're gonna take it all out of context or whatever. And then
read this fucking book,
right?
Then you'll
read
figure.
A lot of books.
Read like 7 of my research dissertations.
And then he goes, I don't believe, I know.
Ooh.
And the guy was like, oh shit. So then people
that's what the guy they pan to the guy and he's like, oh shit.
Essentially, he was like, "Oh, so you're like some hardcore Catholic that like totally believes every word of the Bible?" And he was like, "You obviously haven't read my books."
Do you know who the fuck I am?
Do you know who the fuck I am?
I'm not Carl Malone. I'm Carl Jung. Wrong Carl. Where's my agent?
So many Carls. Who the fuck set up this interview? Then he goes like full Tom Cruise.
Oh my god.
Flips over the fucking catering table.
That's great.
Who the hell set up this interview? Asking me about God. With a lowercase g. God damn it. Anyway, Carl said, intuition is perception through the unconscious. So when you're conscious and double guessing yourself and overthinking and thinking with your ego, you're wrong oftentimes. Your intuition is never wrong. Never, ever. It's always 100% right. Hard part comes is deciphering what voice is your ego and your higher self, and discernment of listening to your ego. So every single episode we will recommend a meditation practice where you can take your ego and sit them in the corner, your shadow self and put them in the corner, and then have your higher self, which kind of doesn't even really speak to you in words, it's more in feelings or intuition.
Inner intuition means inner knowing, right? Not inner thinking or inner believing or inner kind of know, maybeing. It's inner knowing.
Inner knowing, for sure. Like if you think, and then to bring it back to just some tangible shit, you remember back in school when you had a multiple choice question, when you start overthinking and guessing yourself, every time, the teacher says, go with your first instinct. Go with your first guess. And there's been studies done that when you go with your first gut instinct or intuition or first guess, it's right over 80% of the time. Versus overthinking or picking something, quote, randomly, you go with your gut instinct and you're going to be right more often than not. And that is when intuition is kind of like when people say, listen to your body. And then if you're not tuned in, eating the right foods, moving properly, sleeping properly, meditation practice, awareness and mindfulness throughout the day, your body's going to tell you to sit on the couch and play video games.
My body's telling me I want
eat a whole sleeve of Oreos.
Yeah, I was just going to make the sleeve of Oreos reference.
I know, because you can't have one.
Yeah,
two can play at this game.
Bridged.
And you can't just have one Oreo. You got to eat the whole fucking sleeve.
I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before, but I think in China, they my one old client who was Chinese, but he was born here, but his family's from China.
He was Chinese.
No, he's not anymore. He's not. You know what I meant?
Converted.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Which reminds me of another Seinfeld episode. The dentist was Jewish, and he converts to Catholicism or something like that, but he still tells Jew jokes.
Really?
And Seinfeld's like, well, this is fucked up.
What are you doing?
And he's like...
It's my Seinfeld.
And he goes, no, I'm not mad at you for telling Jewish jokes because I'm Jewish. I'm mad as like a comedian. Like, you can't just go hop in fucking different cultures and take all the jokes, bro.
Right? Well, that's a good bit.
Dude, well, Seinfeld has a couple of bucks. He's got a couple of Porsches in the garage.
Yeah, more than that, dude.
Warehouses, literally.
Warehouse. Him and Jay Leno. It's a competition. I don't know who's winning that one.
You got a Leno impersonation?
I don't do a Leno impersonation, no. No, I have to work on it.
Yeah, but Seinfeld's good. What's the deal with the story that I cut you off?
What's the deal with the airplane? I can't do it now. What was I even saying before?
I don't know. I cut you off real good. Talking
about... We're talking about intuition.
Seinfeld.
Inner knowing.
Gnosis. Damn, it was something good too. Oh, sleeve of Oreos in your body.
This is just this is even a stupid story. It's not even that important. But my client, who is Chinese, whose family is from China, went to go visit back there, and he said that we went over there. Like, they made like normal Oreos like weren't selling that well over there for whatever reason.
That's insane.
Which is insane.
That's the craziest part of this story.
Which tells you how much like what they got going on. So Oreo, the company, made like specific flavors just for China.
Oh God.
And they were so weird. And there's 3 of them that were weird.
Ramen, soy, Szechuan, fucking dragon.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
And then there was like a chicken flavored one, and it was pink color too. Like how
chicken
gross is
ramen
that?
Oreos.
Come on now.
Well, you say gross, but once again, their taste buds are different culturally.
Yeah, no, not the taste, but like the pink color makes you think of like raw chicken though, right?
Some people like chicken sushi.
I guess so.
Ooh. You know, a little medium rare.
Salmonella on the side, please.
Ooh. Not all bacteria is bad, but that one's not the best one.
yeah, there are better ones.
We'll get to that. So, there's another way. We said meditation, your gut instinct. If you're feeding your belly the right foods, fruits, vegetables, and probiotics, you're going to be cultivating that symbiotic relationship with your gut microbiome and that healthy bacteria in your gut that can't live without you and you can't live without it.
Symbiosis.
Like
Venom.
Simba. Well, right, Venom and Tom Hardy and shit.
Yeah.
But that bacteria is what's speaking to your brain, craving sugar or craving kale, or craving meat.
A lot of what you think are cravings, where are they coming from? Like I can't control it. It's literally your gut bacteria is like, hey, we want that pizza you ate.
Yeah,
we kicked out these guys who are eating green leafy vegetables. Whoever the fuck does that shit?
Kicked out the good guys.
Give me that goo, that gluten and cheese.
Yeah,
that's
seriously, that's seriously what it is. So that's where elimination and detox diets come in, or pumping yourself with good healthy bacteria.
Yeah.
Prebiotics from fruits and vegetables and probiotics from fermented foods.
For sure.
And more importantly, like you said, avoiding shit that fucks up your gut.
Yeah.
Inflammatory foods you don't digest well, sensitivities, allergic foods, etc. We always talk about gluten and dairy are your 2 main culprits. A lot of people also have nut issues.
Nuts. Legumes are also fourth on there.
So you can listen to your body better when you have a meditation practice, when you have a yoga practice, when you're eating healthy foods. It will tell you the right things to eat. You will crave good foods at that point.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's almost like the body wants to survive and do well and thrive in this human experience. And it's been poisoned and lied to since birth. But you now know that everything that they taught you in school was only X amount of knowledge. There's so much more, such a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's not the teacher's fault.
Yeah, you can't, because, again, the current education system is just like a...
complete indoctrination to get you... It started to enslave you into factories.
Yeah, well, it's a remnant of the Industrial Revolution, right? Just like cranking through the desks in all in orderly rows, just like
when the bell goes off, they go to lunch.
Ding, punch out,
and the whole
same
thing,
right?
Like Fred Flintstone. And now it's the same thing, but in cubicles. And now it's even worse because you're just eating in fucking your pajamas on a Zoom meeting, not leaving bed for a week, working on a laptop. Yeah, bed sores fucking from Zoom meetings. You know what I mean? Ordering fucking DoorDash and then going right back into your cave.
Uber Eats.
Dude, unbelievable.
My intuition says Uber Eats.
No, it does not.
My intuition says don't worry about the $8 delivery fee.
Well, I do that all the time. Oh, that's so funny. I paid $37 for a salad because I didn't want to cook. And the vegetables in the fucking thing are turning brown.
It's not even that good, and if I want to have it delivered to me.
And then you complain the whole time when you're watching the app and he's not driving fast enough.
Yeah, or he makes... hey, it's right there. It's not even hard. You can't go anywhere else but my apartment.
90 minutes and $37 to get a salad. Why had food in the
why are you driving into a lake?
Oh my God. Drove off a cliff. And you're yelling at the fucking guy.
When you could have just...
And it's all your fault for not planning ahead. And I've done it before where I meditate before food choices and take a pause. Because so many times I will just make the wrong choice unconsciously.
Yeah.
But when you become conscious and listen to your inner self and you have inner knowing, you're always going to make the right choice.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. It's kind of not has to do with the senses, but maybe you can bridge me there because that's what you do. Like, don't go food shopping when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Then you're just gonna.
Because what are you being driven by, right? What is the driving response?
Hunger versus the list that you made in the plan.
Yeah. If you,
be sticking on.
You'll know if it's correct. And this is not necessarily intuition, but it's more of just, well, it can be, but it's more of just a mind kind of clearing thing. Mm-hmm. It's just like if you have an impulse to go do something, pause for like a minute, and if you still want to go do it after that minute, you can go do it for sure, whether that's wrong. But at least you give yourself that time to Because I mean,
That's like you should masturbate before you text somebody. Before you text your ex, you should masturbate first, and if you still like her, then you can send that text.
Well, there you go.
99.9%. Oh, thank God.
All right, wow, that saved me a whole.
Ooh, bedtime.
Yep.
It's better than night quote.
There you go.
What else was I going to say? Oh, that wanted to bridge me to, do you want to explain the dowsing rod to people and trusting their intuition on decisions?
Yeah, so in terms, like meditation obviously is the number one practice, like learning to listen, right? Because it's, have you heard the sound of silence, the song of silence, or, and breadcrumbs throughout songs? But you really...
If I knew that one, I would
Rumi
sing
quote, I think is a Rumi, like when it's silent, it speaks, or maybe that's not Rumi, but it's a famous quote.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Rumi.
Oh, yeah.
It's because it's not... and you'll see it in like lots of like movies and archetypes and stories, like in like Bruce Almighty, right, where he's like at his worst and he's lowest and he's screaming, "Where smite me, oh mighty smiter!" When he's like completely got it all out, then it speaks, right? Or Jesus in the desert for however long, right? You go through all of that, how many thoughts are coming through your mind about surviving, and you finally let it go, it calms down. Then you're open to receive it, right? So it's really about just being open to it. Tarot, dowsing rods, pendulums, all these things can be, coins even can be mechanisms of practicing your intuition, right?
Flexing that muscle.
So if you've never done it, or if it feels a little bit too on the woo side, which is fine if that's how you feel, but they're really
Whatever
just...
you believe is real, so you're not holding yourself back.
Well, why would you
like
just...
discounting things without trying it yourself.
Treat like a science experiment if you don't believe it, right?
That's what everything
if
is.
You're entirely... If you're
you
entirely...
know real science,
yeah,
you have a hypothesis and you test the motherfucker.
And that's the only real way to kind of like...
Because science is a method.
Exactly. Test your intuition, right?
It's not, the TV told me it's science, you trust the science, you Nazi.
This book said...
The book said that, and I'm not going to read any other books ever again.
Don't need it.
No. Don't need it. I got letters after my name. I graduated from a fucking college, god damn it.
See that end? Why is he a redneck now? A redneck.
I got the debt to prove it. I'm just saying. Science is a method of you have a hypothesis and you test it against different variables. Then you test it some more. And you always keep learning and thinking and getting better and growing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you and good night. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
That's the end of the Bridge series forever. That's it. That's how we're going to leave it.
Do your own research.
Sopranos ending black.
Yo. Definitely Sopranos ending.
But yeah, like tarot, for example, so like, I've gotten into that. I've gotten into pendulum dowsing before.
I got a new deck too. I forgot to tell you. It's fucking dope.
Yeah?
Power cards or some shit. Super cool.
I'm not gonna lie. When you first said that first week, they said I got a new dick, and I was like, "How does he want me to proceed with this conversation?" I didn't know where you were gonna go with that. And then as you were talking, I realized he said deck.
The old one's in the shop.
The old one's in the,
I got a little upgrade.
The old one's in the shop.
Got some rims on it.
Oil change.
Getting it lowered.
Yeah.
Oil change. Putting some spoilers on the nuts.
Getting it lifted. Is that what you're
doing? Getting a little lift. They have
lift
that.
kit.
The lift kit. Well, they have that for sure. Take the hood off.
There's so much going on. There's so many.
Bro, I'll go
all day in mechanic shop.
Man. Where are we at? Oh, tarot.
Tarot. Yeah, so tarot, and I'm not a tarot expert. I just use them in accordance with my intuition. So I'll really just, I said, divinatory techniques. What I mean by that is to essentially divine in the sense of foretell, not the future, but tap into your intuition and let them guide your decisions, or let the cards speak to you, right?
Yeah, all the answers in the whole universe are within you.
Yeah, so it's just a medium to bring that through. Because if sometimes, for me, like when I first started meditating and began that practice, like I didn't even get to that space where there wasn't any thoughts, which is where people think they're supposed to be. But it's not.
Yeah, right.
But so you're like, but then you get to that spot, I'm like. And you think again, like, oh, I'm here. And you're like, no, I'm not here anymore. But in that space where it's entirely silent, because you don't stop thinking, the thoughts have just gotten like exhausted. Your ego's just like, I'm done. They're just like,
you tap them, you tire them out like a puppy.
Yeah,
we always talk about.
It's just like it's like in Mark Wahlberg in The Fighter. He like was just taking shots for like 10 rounds, and the last 2, so when he came back, started throwing, right?
Head body.
There you go.
Dude, Christian Bale's so good.
So good.
He's a fucking sick.
But when you tap into that space of silence, right? Then you can just let things come through you. And it happens, when you say trust your intuition, part of it just trusting is intuition, really,
Wow, yeah.
Because you have to actually believe and just trust it's there. And when I first started doing tarot readings, I was like, you have like your expectation of like, maybe I kind of want this to happen. Please be the right cards, unconsciously, right? Or even consciously. But when you just kind of let it go and it flows and you practice it and you can kind of test it against your experiences. Like I did this reading. How does that relate to what happened, right? Without me trying to make it happen.
Of course.
And you can see how it lines up. And as I've gotten better at clearing my own energy and clearing out the noise in the space to allow the intuition to flow.
Yeah, the cards are the same.
They're super accurate, right? They're just really picking up my energy. I'm just transferring my energy to that. Muscle testing, right? If you want to talk about that a little
That's
bit.
a big one. So we always talk about, there's two like basic ways, right?
Yeah.
The arm test, I guess you would say,
And
and
then
the self finger lock
Yeah.
test. This is super important. So million different ways you can do this. You can ask a series of yes or no questions to find out things that your body already knows.
Yeah.
As far as like, where is my ailment coming from, or where, what food am I allergic to? And there's like a series of yes or no questions, or just any one yes or no question. Should I buy this? Should I eat this? What should I do, or whatever? Muscle testing is always going to show you the right way, because your body will make you become weak essentially and fail, quote unquote, the muscle test if the answer is no, and you will lock on strong if the answer is yes. So the first arm test would be you hold your arm out straight, and then we'll do it live. We're going to do it live. Just fight against me, fight against me, fight against me. Clearly he's strong enough to fight against me. So then you can, should we do like a yes or no question where the answer is no or a lie, or should we test love versus fear on a vibrational?
Yeah, test some like easily known things.
Oh, right.
Some strong things.
Is your name John? Jonathan. Okay. Passes it.
Is it? If it went down, I was like, oh.
Am I?
Who I adopted?
Is your name Brian? Definitely weaker.
Yeah.
Definitely weaker.
Same effort. I'm not
Same
trying
effort.
to, yeah.
Right. Well, this isn't clinical setting, but he was clearly weaker.
Yeah, and
We're not fudging the test here.
yeah, like when you actually do it, again, just like when you're doing a tarot, like at least for me, I can't go straight to it like some magically gifted people.
Right.
I have to meditate beforehand and kind of get into that space. And same thing for muscle testing. It's you have to practice and kind of get calibrated.
Yeah.
Before it works.
It's the same with anything. You've
Exactly.
seen people with bad knees need a long time to warm up before they get on the leg press.
Exactly,
Whatever.
right? Same thing with
Same
the
thing.
muscle testing.
Then the self-test is like a finger lock test, where I guess you would go middle finger and thumb
Yeah.
hooked into each other, and then you can obviously resist yourself as hard as you possibly can, right? But if you ask a yes or no question and the answer is no, your hands will clip and uninterlock, so to speak, and you will fail the muscle test. And then you know, because your body just told you, the answer is no. And if you can hold strong against it, the answer is yes. And that takes practice, and there are certifications for it, and there are classes, and you can be, not a degree, but you can be certified, and you can study it for sure in a legit university setting. And it is legit, because your intuition, your body, your soul, and your higher self is always right 100% of the time, always. You are wrong fucking all the time because you're a fucking idiot. You know? And guess what? You're a human being, and so are we, and you make mistakes all the time. Your intuition never makes mistakes. So that's the fun part of this game, is listening to the universe and Mother Nature and God and your higher self and your soul and your intuition, which speaks to you, even spirit guides and everything else, to guide you on this unique experience.
It's kind of like, I think, Albert Einstein gets credit for this, but I'm not sure if he actually said it, because that's the way quotes work now.
Well, you weren't there.
Who knows who said what now?
Fuck bitches, get money. Abraham Lincoln.
Exactly. Pretty sure he said that.
I mean, of course he did. I saw it on the internet.
Yeah. And he did a little crotch chop, too. At the end of that. But like, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, then you don't know it that well, right? Like on a topic, right? So same thing with your intuition. Like you'll notice that when you start to discern the difference between the two, you'll notice the difference between the ego and the your higher self, or that intuition, or that inner knowing, that voice. It's very distinct, but the ego will try to pretend to be the intuition because it knows you're looking for the intuition.
It mimics it all the time to fuck with you.
Yeah, because especially if you, I want to tap into my intuition, your ego's like, okay, we'll be the intuition for you to tap into, right?
And he does that Robin Williams impersonation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he'll try to trick
you. But the difference is the talking that happens. It's a very different type of talking. It's more constant.
It is.
It's louder.
Yes.
And there'll be some anger. There'll be resistance into it. With the intuition voice, it's usually just like
so calm.
One word.
And it's obvious.
One word. And it's obvious.
Always no.
And you're like, oh yeah.
Well,
shit. Like, I'm an idiot. How did I not see that?
Every single time you get a download from the universe or your higher self, it's always duh.
And then what that helps you to find out is like, oh, okay, so it's really just what's blocking me, right? from getting this, because if I can get this all the time,
Gold.
she's gonna be nice.
Gold. That's a golden tip right there for you.
Yeah.
Go back to golden tip because you were talking about my penis earlier. But seriously, I love that. So if you can quiet your ego down, you're always going to get the most no-duh perfect answer ever. Right? So that's where meditation practice comes in. Do we got more on muscle testing? Because I believe that's a real big thing. Or what else do we got here?
Yeah, well, I mean, I could talk a little bit like David Hawkins and his muscle testing as at least it relates to like the levels of consciousness. If you've ever seen that, yeah.
Oh, can you pause that? Because I remember what I was going to say.
Pause.
But don't forget Hawkins. Not Stephen Hawkins either.
No.
So you mentioned Albert Einstein. There was like 3 different quotes I thought you were going to go with.
Yeah.
And you didn't go with any of the 3 I was thinking of. But what he did say was he got more work done in the bathtub just listening to his intuition and surrendering than he did at the chalkboard.
100%.
Than at his desk.
Yeah, he came up with the theory. He didn't came up with it. It came together.
It came to him
in a dream.
From his intuition, from the universe, from
God.
God.
He passed out on his desk and he like had a dream then, right in there.
Oh, so many things. I mean, how many other scientists had big inventions from a dream?
Tons of them. Periodic table, I forget his name.
Yeah.
He created he literally mapped out the entire periodic table, came to him in a dream, the exact order.
Come on now, guys.
Guys. That wasn't, he didn't see that, he didn't appropriate that, he didn't smell it.
Nope. Stephen Hawking in a wheelchair, go.
I can't do an impression. too far, John.
Okay, different.
David Hawkins, different type of Hawkins.
Hawkins and Hawkins.
Yeah, Hawking. Yeah. The map of consciousness. So I see it's like it's getting circulated around a lot. Like if you've seen it.
Vibrational frequency.
Yeah. So you got like the emotion that it correlates to, right? Which we talked about before too. But it goes from like 100 to 1,000, and 100 the lowest, sort of 25 maybe even being like shame. At the highest being like unity consciousness, pure oneness, Enlightenment, as what you can call it. And between there you have like guilt, shame, anger, guilt, joy, fear, gratitude, those kinds of things.
You work your way up, and that's what people mean. They say raise your vibration or high vibes only. Or all this shit. That's not hippie woo woo shit.
Yes,
we're talking about vibrational frequencies of emotions.
Yeah, and the book is Power versus Force, which I believe is his first book. He's got a bunch of books, but in that one he kind of talks about how he created that map of consciousness, and he used muscle testing. So he was a big proponent. I'm not sure if he created it, but I know he's definitely one of the OGs for sure of muscle testing in the modern world, at least. And so he would measure the level of consciousness through muscle testing. So you would hold like the Bhagavad Gita or the Bible with people who've been calibrated. So calibrated, like I mentioned, is when you've gotten the muscle testing, you're in sync. So you wouldn't like
so it's
be
precise
wrong.
And accurate.
Yeah, exactly. To basic questions that you already know, right? Like, is your name Kevin? You test weak, that's correct. If you test John, that's strong, right? So he would test, like, what is the level of consciousness of the Bhagavad Gita, hold the Bhagavad Gita, is it 400, right? And you would test, and it would go down or up, and so it would say strong. And you would keep going up and up and up and up. And so you would find that, like, really high vibrational songs, right? Versus, like, trashy, dumb, no-nonsense songs, no offense, would test lower versus, like, like symphonies that are composed in like specific frequencies, or like the Beatles and stuff like that would test way higher. Religious texts and sacred texts would test really high, versus like pornographic video and stuff like that would test very, very low. Artificial sweeteners, chemicals would test low. Vitamin C, natural foods would test high. So you kind of mapped out this level of consciousness based on that. So that's a different way, not necessarily intuition, but a way of kind of gauging, and a very cool way to test like level of awareness, level of emotion in the state, right? So like, especially if you're like in a spot where you feel stuck emotionally or mentally, you can do that test, like where am I at now, like what level, and test your way up. The hard part is not having bias there, which takes practice. But you can say, like, what emotion am I really tapped into right now? It's like, oh, okay, I'm feeling a lot of guilt, which I wasn't thinking about before based on the testing. I'm at level
because you just feel shitty.
Yeah.
It's hard to get to the root of it.
And I'm like, just a clusterfuck of just things, and you're just like, But if you know it's shame, guilt, fear, anger, resentment, or gratitude or joy, right?
Feel into it and work on it eventually, because you got to move that out, because everything is just energy. So you're measuring that vibrational frequency of energy.
Yeah.
And that is how the game works, ladies and gentlemen, is everything is energy. So once you tap into that energy, like we said, with different foods, listening to your intuition, moving your body with a proprioceptive manner, feeling your senses. That's 7 holes in your dome piece, 7 senses. There's probably hundreds or more, but y'all ain't ready for that yet.
Yeah. Stick with the 7.
In 3D, we'll get to 7. The
Meditate.
Meditate every single day. Brush your teeth, say your prayers, eat your vitamins.
Hulkamania's running wild.
Hulkamania, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Peace.